Hey guys, it's Kaya. So I this is part three. I really wanted to just be able to do all of this and boom, just get it all together. Just all one part. But unfortunately they're really manipulating me going live. They will not allow me to go live so I could just get this all done in a span of like 2 hours. And I don't want to. I need to get to the mountains. I can't stay in the city for another. Like it's like basically like what they're doing is working to really make this difficult. So let's get started. This is part three. Hope you guys are all doing good. So this is age 25. This is where I met John and more of the abductions that I dealt with. So at the age of 25, you know, I, this is where I believe John is where the beginning of all this really started. This is a big part of it too. I already was gang stalked. I already was part of it, but this is another big part of it. So I met John online on a free dating website. Yeah, the picture he sent me was actually a picture of him younger. Because when we met, he was older. He was like 6'4". He had salt, pepper hair. Um, and he had a receding hairline, haircut, kind of like Mr. Mackey on South Park, like kind of like that. Like it's kind of like the hairline where it goes kind of like it's kind of like it's like that, like it's like yeah that, and then the hair is like missing there. It's like that. So he had his hair like that. He had thin rim clear glasses. He had bright blue eyes. He was very pale. He wore like a plain white tee. And we met at the mall. And I was kind of shocked when I saw him because he was a lot older looking. We went at the Fox Hills Mall near my house. He was a lot older looking. He looks to be about 50, but I thought, oh, okay, well maybe it'll be okay. Like I guess I don't know. I mean, it's online. Like I guess this is the first time I kind of like had it where it's like, oh, okay, he like really sent me a picture of him younger. I was like, okay. So I guess that he had like a Massachusetts area code, so we kind of connected like that, like because I know that area code like 617. That's where like my mother's family's from, and like yeah, like Dorchester, Massachusetts or something. So we kind of connected like that. I guess he lived in New York, though. I think he really was from New York. I think I'd only dated like tall guys in my life, so I like that he was tall too. Like that's all I've dated was tall guys. I've never been with like a short guy before, so like yeah. So we left the mall and got his car. He had a white Toyota Highlander. It was like a nice car. I had like no idea at that time about like white cars and the gang stalking. And hold on 1 minute, guys. Okay, okay, I'm back. I just am uploading, trying to. I gotta go through hell trying to just upload these videos. It's insane. So basically like he had yeah, I didn't know about the white cars and gang stalking. We ended up driving down some road for a minute, and I felt kind of afraid he was going to kidnap me. He had a very secretive, very kind of coldish kind of demeanor, like not I don't know how to explain it. Kind of a little bit blank. So I was a little bit scared. I kind of was worried if he could be a serial killer or he's going to try to like kidnap me or kill me. It's kind of a scary vibe about him, I guess. He didn't seem that smiley, but I had to remember he was a Scorpio. So he was like a Scorpio Sagittarius cusp, November 22nd or whichever, or something like that. And they're much different than Libras. So like I did enjoy talking to him and having conversation a lot. Like so we had good combo, but he said he was looking, to go to the movies and restaurants sometimes, but this would also be a friend with benefits type of relationship. And I'm like, okay, well, I being a big girl, I was pretty used to that to where, oh, okay, a guy's gonna play, kind of games with me and not take me out or whatever, or want to be seen with me or whatever. So basically, like, I understood that because I was fat, he most likely wasn't going to be seen with me because he never ended up taking me to the movies or to a restaurant. So I had a feeling he wasn't really serious. So I was seeing my ex Doug at the same time. Cause shit, I was 25 years old. I'm 25 years old, and yeah, I just knew he wasn't serious about me. So I learned to stop attaching my feelings to guys because all I would do is get hurt, and no one liked me. But I felt like he was attractive for an older man. We had some drinks at his apartment in Glendale. We had sex, and I sort of enjoyed the sex, but at the same time, I just felt something was kind of off. His facial features, he just looked really like pissed off at times or just blank or dry. But I later learned that like this is a part of him having Asperger's autism, which he hid that from me, that he had high functioning autism. He also lied to me. He told me that he was Lithuanian and he was Italian. He really was Russian. Yeah. So he lied to me. Oh, and I knew every lie. I knew the lies. I knew it because I'm psychic. So I knew he was lying to me. I knew he was playing games. So I basically didn't contact John again after the first time we had sex because I wasn't sure if we wanted to have sex again. Also, want to say that wasn't his real name. I know he was. That was, I believe, it was a fake name he was using. I think his real name was Michael. So that's another thing I want to also add. So I decided to get in contact with him after a week and try again. I thought, okay, maybe I should try to like connect with this guy. I felt like, he had a nice place. I felt like, okay, we didn't have too bad of a time. We connected, had good conversation. Let's meet again. So I felt like, we just met each other. We need to like maybe talk and get to know each other. And I came over again. We sat on the couch and he would show me like his art. He had art from his friend that, he showed me his videos on his laptop. We'd listen to music. We would have long conversations, which I liked that. And we started to see each other once a week, but we never went out. We just stayed in his apartment and he would stop at the liquor store first and get beer always. He would always get this German beer. So I really think he was German or Russian. I think he lied. He really definitely lied to me. I think he actually was German, a German Nazi. I strongly believe he was my first ex, Stuart Lessig. I believe that because Stuart Lessig was in the Marines, I believe it's Stuart Lessig that put me on this list also at the age of 17. And I'll have to get back into that because I totally forgot to mention about Stuart Lessig. So Stuart Lessig worked at Camp Pendleton in San Diego. The crazy thing about it is John has like similar features physically, height wise, blue eyes, similar like face, but it's like just similar, just few changes. These Nazis actually are they can change their forms. It goes really deep. It's insane. But anyways, let me get back to the story here. Um, well, let me also check this upload. Hold on. Okay, we're good. So it uploaded. Perfect. Okay. I gotta try to get this all done today. I have to. Okay. So let's get back to this. So basically, get back to where I was. Sorry, get back to where I was. Okay, so he kind of explained to me what was going on in his life a little bit. He kind of started, he was very secretive. He started to open up to me a little bit more. He basically explained how he just moved here. He lived in New York. He just moved to California. He went through a lot there with like a breakup, and he was new to California. He basically explained that I think he was totally betrayed. He was totally fucked over. So I was noticing he had a huge wad of cash in his pocket. Like this would be like $100 bills, like all together, like a fat stack, like in his pocket. But he never took me out on a real date. Like we always went to some cheap diner to get breakfast. Is where he actually was taking me. That's where we went was to it, but we never went to the movie. So he's taking me some cheap diner to get breakfast, and so you know, saw my ex at the time, at the same time, because I knew he wasn't serious. And with my ex, Doug, he would take me to like good, really nice. We would go to nice restaurants. We would. So honestly, like I just had to. Also, like basically with John, it would be one round of sex, and with Doug, we would have several rounds of sex, and it would tire me out. When I asked John for another round of sex, he accused me of believing he was a machine. I was like, okay. I was pretty bored to be quite honest because we didn't try anything new or kinky, and he was supposedly dominant, supposedly. I felt also afraid to kind of ask him things because of his facial demeanor. He was also pretty secretive and didn't open up to me about much. But he was kind of that person where, like, you wanted to tell them things, because he just kind of that, like, listener, maybe. The interesting thing it was that whenever I got around John, all of my pain disappeared in my body and my head. I didn't feel pain. It was very strange. He was very passionate and would like kiss my forehead and my hand. I remember one day at night, I had this like dream like experience with him. Like in this dream, we were getting like married and there were like people gathered and I felt like really good sensations and vibrations. And the aliens sometimes would do that like during abductions and dreams. And it was crazy. So like, yeah, sometimes it, um, aliens would give me really good experience, take me to like beautiful places. Like I've been like gorgeous places. Like it's like, oh my goodness. And I wake up and it's like, oh wow. So I realized later on that John was an alien. I researched about aliens and their ability to get near people with like multiple sclerosis and other autoimmune diseases and disable it, like cure it while they're around you. So while these aliens are in your presence, they will shut off whatever disease that you have or something like that. I later found out, I read that, I think it was Eve Logren's documents that I had read that and looked at that and saw that. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, so when I saw that, so let's get back to this paragraph. Okay. So I started to feel that John was attracted and he was very good in bed, even though it was just like one round of sex. I believe that this is where he really was doing magic, possibly on me as well. There was some magic that was being done here. I think he was a warlock. So I felt like he was good at things. Like I guess because he was an older man, he was very experienced. Even though it was one round, like he was very good at oral sex, very good at, and I enjoyed it. I guess and like the passionate like with Doug, like Doug was great is great, but like he's amazing in bed. But this was like different. I've never experienced being with an older man, like because Doug's my age and this is an older man. So yeah, so I had like my first like orgasm, like because honestly I'd only been well with my other ex. Yeah, I did have orgasms, but I mean my first like explosive, I guess like really explosive orgasm ever that I had like as an adult. I don't know. Maybe that's what got me to really also. And he had a really big penis. He was tall, and I guess he kind of like express. I just got this bachelor player vibe from. He's had this small fridge with these beers, and he kind of talk about like how like he went to Montreal and like saw strippers and like one day we were in the car and he's like looking at this girl's ass and I'm like, oh, okay, well that's where I was just like, okay, well he's just a player, like like he's got a big dick and he kind of expressed he'd been with a lot of women, like he's like I've tried this, I've tried, I'm like I haven't tried basically anything because I've only been basically with like Doug, and these aliens have really worked to prevent me having relationships and all that. So yeah, so I felt pretty insecure. I was like on my weight loss journey. I was 260 pounds. I had lost 60 pounds about but I needed to lose more. I asked him to be honest if I looked fat like on our first date. Like it was kind of like I don't know, it was kind of like just well I don't know. It was kind of like because we were asking each other like, oh, okay, what do you think of me? What do you think kind of that thing? And it, I didn't mention that he looked older or anything like that, but he kind of smiled and said I could use the elliptical. And that kind of hurt my feelings. And basically, like, I just really wanted a man to finally take me seriously and see me as a potential partner. And I began to diet harder and like work at the gym at this time. I didn't know that he wanted me to remain fat though. He actually got me into gluten free one day because we cooked together. He brought these gluten free buns for the hot dogs and hamburgers, and I liked them better. It tasted better. I was having like some gallbladder issues at the time. I didn't realize I would. I didn't realize what it was though. Like, but it was due to the large weight loss. So, he told me that he ate mostly vegetarian food. So I thought I would try that to lose weight, and also because I was getting like stomach pain eating meat now. I was beginning to think I was like allergic to meat, so I got Morningstar sausages for breakfast and like other vegetarian foods. I started like also strictly like counting my calories and stuff like that, and doing the working out like more and stuff like that. So I thought that the vegetarian would also help me lose weight and also kind of help what was going on with my stomach. 'Cause I had stomach problems like all my life. So there's a point that while me and John were seeing each other, I finally stopped seeing my ex Doug. Um, I like no longer had like sex with him or communicated with him because I was starting to feel kind of serious about John. But during our relationship, things happened that I did not realize until later that he had date raped me. One night, John offered me some Belvedere vodka and made a vodka cranberry. I said, hell yeah. I thought that was really nice. Like, okay, I was really going to try it. I began to get really sleepy. I didn't know I was so sleepy, but I figured I just had a good drink and that was it. And, I was so out of it. I started falling asleep on the couch as we were talking, I guess. I fell asleep sitting up. And I did not remember these memories until later on, but he ended up like carrying me like to the bedroom and laying me down on the bed and taking my clothes off. I figured he was helping me. He was removing like my socks and stuff. And I remember just kind of being laughy, just kind of being out of it. Like I didn't know what was going on. It was really dark in the room. I felt really drugged and really loopy. Then he took his pants off, and I remember I was not really able to move as well. He got on top of me and then he stuck his penis inside of me. It really like hurt me a lot. So he took it like out. I was not ready. He started like kissing me and like going down on me. I remember like feeling still really loopy and unaware. I didn't want to have sex like this. Like I wanted to kind of be like awake, kind of be aware, and um, I was kind of like getting scared. I was like not I was drugged, but I was kind of scared at the same time. I didn't know what was going on. And then he started to stick his penis in me again, and this time it was like fully hard. I guess he only gets really fully hard when he's able to rape. I realized later on it really hurt me badly because he was sticking it in all the way. Um, I remember he started kissing me and I felt really scared. I hadn't had much sex in my life, so I had a very small vagina on top of being molested. I had something called vaginismus, where my vagina muscles tighten after the molestation and trauma, also from so much done to me by the aliens, the exams, the DNC, everything. Anything getting near my vagina makes my vagina just tighten up to where it just cannot be open, basically. Like it is so painful. Like pap smears are really painful. I remember just wishing it was over and he would stop. I asked him to please stop and I was crying. He was really hurting me. He was putting it in like all the way, like sticking it in all the way, and it was hitting like I think my cervix or something like that, like my uterus. And I remember he kept like covering my mouth so I couldn't cry out loud. I couldn't really make noise anyways. I couldn't He was also like kissing me too, and it was really crazy. Like he just kept raping me for a while, and I was like I just remember like being in pain. I was like crying, like just wanted it to stop. I was just crying. I just really wanted him to not do that anymore. And then he ended up like getting on top of me with like a light, with like cell. It was a cell phone actually with a light camera, and I didn't know what was going on because I was so out of it. And I remember kind of like being loopy. I was like laughing like when he was moving because I was like so drugged by whatever he drugged me with. And then he started to like make me give him like oral sex and like recording it, and it was humiliating because I was aware but unaware at the same time. I'm sure he used this video to humiliate me. In the morning, I didn't remember any of this, and I saw him the next weekend. I had no idea like any of that happened. Like, basically forgot it the next morning. He then did the same thing another time later in our relationship. He gave me the same drinks, and I unknowingly took it. He carried me to the room and then told me that he was going to make me have anal sex. I never done that before, only once with my ex Stuart Lessig that I was talking about, who had a 4-inch cock, and he had some kind of stuff called like Astroglide that numbed things. It made it like completely numb, so it's like I didn't feel it, or anything like that. It wasn't pleasurable. It was just kind of like something I'm really like getting out of this or anything. Like it was just weird. So I was 17 and he was 22 when we dated. He was 6'6". He had blue eyes too, and he was a Sagittarius too, just like John. It's fucking insane, right? Sorry, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just thinking about this. I gotta get some water. Okay. So that was my first boyfriend actually, was Stuart Lessig, which I forgot to mention when I had gone over age 17. But we'll go back over that. Try to go back over that because I completely forgot to include that. But actually I kind of included here, so it's kind of yeah. But I'll talk a little bit more about that. So we dated a short while. He was joining the Marines, and he ended up joining the Marines. Like I said, he went to Camp Pendleton. I saw him on Camp Pendleton, and we ended up having a breakup. He ended up cheating on me. He was a crazy cheater. He's a serial mm, cheater, is what he was. So every relationship he get in, he'd cheat on, or he'd leave the woman for another one. Every relationship is insane. So that's what that was. Other than that, I got really scared. Right now, he was saying he was going to rape me, saying he was going to do this, sex to me or whatever. And I guess he had some kind of ass fetish or something like that. And I was not ready. I didn't want that. He started to like lick my butt first, and I was really drugged and I was really scared because I could not move. Like I felt so much fear. And then he started like sticking inside of me and really hurt me. I remember I could not scream. I remember I was somehow able to keep like slipping away from him and getting away from him. But doing that, he said that I was making it harder and I was making it take longer. He was really hurting me badly doing this to me. I wanted it to just stop so bad, like really did. I remember my body feeling like I was outside of my body or something. I don't know, but I felt so much fear. I think something happened to my body because at one point he ended up like looking at me and like staring at me, like just he's just like frozen, just kind of looking at me. And I don't know, like my body felt different. Like it was just really weird. And I guess he ended up like not using a condom those two times he raped me, and he like actually ejaculated inside of me. And I guess I was also like pregnant and didn't know from the first time he like raped me, and because he usually would always wear a condom, it's we always use protection. So in the morning I saw I was bleeding, and I didn't know what happened. I didn't remember I was violently raped, but now I remember I felt pain. I didn't know why there was blood when I wiped. He ended up being very passionate with sex in the morning, like making sure I had the best orgasm, and I realized that that was after all that last night. Yeah, and I guess that was his way of trying to be nice or something. We began to drift apart after the third month dating, but as I mentioned, I stopped seeing my ex and started to feel feelings for him, but I kept it secret. I like that we had deep conversations and he made me feel beautiful, other than his comment about me needing to lose some weight. But I know I gave off a vibe of insecurity, and living with my abusive mother made me so unhappy. It was kind of seen basically that I was, my kind of, you're living with someone so negative your whole life and that's all you've been taught and all you've been raised is horrible. So I was still young and had to unlearn the habits my mother taught me. She taught me it was okay to gossip, and he didn't like gossiping. He didn't like that. So uh, one day a female called him. He went outside to take the phone call. I felt very upset. He could see it. I noticed he was like kissing me more. And shortly after, we ended up not really seeing each other and ending things. I had not seen him for a few weeks when he invited me over for the same sex, which never changed the way it was done. And I wanted to do things differently. And I guess he didn't like that. I guess he didn't like that I lost weight, because he had complimented my weight loss before, but I could see he was angry or something was off. Because I ended up losing another 40 pounds like pretty quickly, and like I was really liking how my pictures were looking. I was like my body, and like um I felt like he would make him more attracted to me, but it didn't. So he started to pull away. In the morning we had sex, and he actually bit my vagina when he gave me oral sex, and I didn't understand that, but something was off. We had an argument about basically nothing. He acted like he was going to hit me and like really scared me. He got like really close and like stood over me. He said he would never hit a woman, but I don't really know. I don't. I honestly, yeah, he would. He said he'd been in jail in Massachusetts, but I don't know for what. I have no idea. I suspected a little bit that he may have been using cocaine during our relationship, because on this toilet there was always this book and all this like white powdery stuff like all over the top of the toilet. And I kind of thought it was baby powder, but I know whenever I met him and I saw his pupils were dilated, and he went to the bathroom like frequently. He also always had diarrhea. I thought it was from the coffee he drank too, but I think it maybe was from him using coke or some kind of stimulant. I think coke. I think he was a cokehead. We sat on the couch and we spoke before he drove me home. And said something about being bored, and basically he was bored in our relationship and kind of was saying basically that I should find another guy, kind of in a covert way. And I said, okay, well, I'll find another guy. Kind of snapped and kind of didn't like, it just kind of said it. Just didn't really think about it. I cried because I was hurt. I think it was mostly the sex that got me like so attracted to him, and I guess maybe our conversations and like I don't know, I just felt good around him. I thought he was like a cool guy, but he really was actually pretty unhappy. He was a warlock. I didn't know that. He spoke about Freemasonry and seemed as though he was part of it. He knew videos and stuff about it. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it all. But I guess that's what he was. I was very heartbroken that he no longer wanted to see me and became so hateful towards me. I called him and he told me not to call him again. I got no closure, and he hurt me that he just wouldn't explain what was going on. I came over to his place trying to see if I could talk to him, and I saw tons of workout equipment all over his balcony now. So what this was about, he was angry about my weight loss. Maybe now he felt he needed to work out. I didn't know what triggered him off in him, but it was pretty cool. I really liked him. I was very sad. It really hurt me. I did have a short period. I drank alcohol. He also got me started drinking too, because every weekend he would like go and it's every weekend we meet on Saturday. It's like, okay, let's get some beer, let's get to have some beer or whatever. So all I ever wanted was love and someone I could share my life with. After all this abuse, and I ended up losing more weight. I figured that it was something wrong with me, my body. So I ended up losing more weight from being heartbroken and hoping I would finally meet a guy serious about me. I needed to change up my diet because I plateaued on my vegetarian diet at 200 pounds. So I started to eat a ketogenic diet, and then I got down to like 190, got down to like 180, and my weight was now normal, and the extra weight was actually excess skin, but I didn't have it as bad as those who got gastric bypass because I didn't have a liquid diet or just eat like teeny amounts of food and not work out. I kind of still kind of did that, but I do have some that needs to definitely be removed, which sucks. But I never expected that something so insane would occur, that my family was now attacking me for losing weight and others. I was now about to be gang stalked almost to death and almost killed. For what I do not know, but this is where it really began. Once 2016 rolled in, was the beginning of the end of my life. Age 26, I'm now a targeted individual. Poison. So at 2016 was where things took a turn for the worse. I had healed from much of my complex PTSD I had from my mother and father's abuse, especially the abuse by my father. I'd lost weight and had a new body. I looked different. I was now around 180, 190, about 175 pounds, around that range. Um, and I thought I would have a new life, meet the man of my dreams, be able to have a great life, but it did not happen. I began being targeted. After my large weight loss, I had to get my gallbladder removed. My gallbladder was messed up, and only HIDA scans could see it. They began torturing me medically and denying me pain medications, even though my results were showing something was off. But they could not see gallstones. At this time, I had this friend named Megan Dixon who lived in Texas. It was actually a forced relationship. I felt this actually was somebody who's involved in this gang stalking and targeting me. Years ago, I made friends off MySpace with some other girl from Texas. Her name was Lauren Bethune, and she was younger than me and had like no, she didn't have horse. Sorry, Lauren didn't have horses, but the Lauren Bethune is actually on MySpace. How I met this Megan girl. This Me and this Megan girl had been friends for a second, and then something had occurred where I guess maybe she started to get jealous about me talking with Lauren, or I don't know what this was, but she started to like cuss me out and call me the N word. I guess she had Asperger's autism, and she was like fighting to like stop horse slaughter or something like that. And she started to like cuss me out for no reason, calling me the N word, accusing me of like something with Lauren. I was like, that's so weird. I think she was like jealous of like maybe I was talking to Lauren more, or I don't know, but she kept calling me on the phone over and over. She was having her friends call me, like prank call my phone, calling me the N word. I thought it was crazy. It was a big red flag, and I should have never have became friends with her again later on, because later on she ended up like getting in contact with me, and we kind of became like pen pals through text messages. We would write letters, send each other like gifts at times and stuff. And I felt if I ignored her or got too busy, she would probably start like cussing me out again. Like I just felt really like this friendship was draining, and I felt like forced into it. But it was nice having somebody that I could talk to and relate to. But she was a racist, and I should have got a restraining order. I really should have. So I ended up getting like starting to get really sick and trying to find out what's going on. She actually was the one who gave me the tip. Oh, you might need to get a HIDA scan. Like, cause a lot of these gang stalkers will know medically what's already wrong with you. They'll covertly let you know, kind of, instead, but doctors will hide everything going on. So I ended up getting really sick. Losing my gallbladder. I just lost a large amount of weight, and I didn't know it could cause the gallstones and gallbladder issues. So I was getting severe stomach pains. I was getting really sick. Eating at one point, I could not eat anything without an extreme headache and stomach pains. I found beet juice would help in the meantime. For whatever was going on, like if I had, especially eggs, would be the worst thing that I could have. I think the cholesterol with the gallbladder, something with that. So I was getting really sick. So, um, I ended up getting the HIDA scan. That was she advised me about that, and I got it. And they found out that my gallbladder was in fact messed up. It was so. It was 2016. Donald Trump was just elected. I had heard things about him being racist, but I never imagined that I'll begin being stalked and have attempts put on my life. The thing about it is that I don't know. You know what? I do know. It's actually the crazy thing about it is it really is the area that I was living in. These attacks, I don't know why it began the minute Trump got into office. I don't know, but it began. And the thing about it is, I believe that these were liberals doing this, doing these attacks in California because my family was highly Democrat. My mother and everything, all that, highly Democrat. So, yeah. So that's what I, figured with that. So basically, being really targeted. I never understood what I did wrong, but I realized my weight loss had triggered not only my family, but John as well. My uncle, who had teased me before, was like now obese. My mother was now obese, becoming obese, like get on her way to she was now like big. She never was before. My grandmother had began to stop eating, and I think she started doing that to lose weight. It's like trying to like compete with me. Like they once I lost weight, my whole family they all started to try to see like trying to do a weight loss mission kind of thing. And people were beginning to compete with me. I never wanted to compete. I never once had a normal body due to everything that had been done to me. It had occurred to be done to me. And for some reason now people are jealous of my family. Dad was as well and had accused me of using drugs to lose weight when I did all the hard work on my own and was disciplined. That really hurt my feelings. It really did. I learned about healthy eating like online. I was looking at Dr. Berg, looking at all the information and getting healthy as I could. It was also helping my mental health, exercise and eating healthy a lot. And it really hurt my feelings. So I ended up getting online one day. I was receiving threats from an unknown page on Facebook. I think it was Facebook or some other social media platform. The name was Michael. This was actually on my birthday. I realized that was most likely John doing this. I remember that's where the targeting began. This was after John had basically like told me to never talk to him again, never speak to him again, never call him again, and I was like, okay, so yeah, so I ended up my birthday was horrible. They ended up having like strangers target me, look at me very angrily. It was not a good birthday. It was horrible. It's like um, my grandmother Janaki had made reservations for me also at the Ruth Chris Steakhouse in Marina Del Rey, and I thought that was nice because I never tried it. I heard it was fancy. I was like, little did I know it was going to be poisoned. So my grandmother was very jealous of me, jealous of my weight loss, and trying to murder me. I thought it was really nice. She wanted to take me to such a nice restaurant, also congratulate me for my weight loss, but she never expressed she was happy about it other than saying she thought I was the shit now that I lost weight. Um, but she basically was at time pretending to be happy for me, so she had a plan to poison me. That's why she wanted to take me to the nice dinner so nice. So we actually ended up getting a cocktail at the bar across the way, and I thought that was nice because my grandmother never usually did that. Like we got like a fancy cocktail like martini, and um my grandmother fancy stuff, but there was an ulterior motive here. This ulterior motive was to harm me. I highly believe she played a part in me being poisoned, as well as the Ruth Chris Steakhouse, a Texas owned company, because I had vehicles from Texas that were stalking me, Texas plates. I don't know who they were or where they were coming from, and I still don't. I just know that these people are very racist, obsessed with me, and refuse to stop stalking me. We had dinner and I got a steak and it was like drenched in butter, which was like really like wow. But overall, it was okay. And for dessert, it was nice, fancy on a plate with like writing and my name. I ended up getting really sick later on after the dinner. Couldn't believe how much pain I was in. I felt like I was going to die. I thought this could have been the steak and all the grease after getting my gallbladder removed, but it was not. I was poisoned for sure. This was all orchestrated. I ended up going to the ER the next day. I think my mother had to drive me, but she stopped driving me to the ER because I was getting sick all the time. It was taken away from her time. Anytime I got sick, my mother was never there for me. When I was 13, I had to get my appendix removed. She left me there alone. She would not have done that with my brother, I guarantee you. But then my mother got sick with an asthma attack. and I was around 13. I was around that age of 13, and she had made me stay with her the whole time. My mother was very selfish. She only cared about herself. And 13, at the age of 13, I had to get my opinion. It's like, I'm here for you, but you're not here for, like, it's basically like I was always the parent, basically. She only cared, very selfish. So I ended up getting pain medication. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. Supposedly they transferred me to this area. It was like the observation area where they were ending up helping you by figuring out what the treatment is going to work best and running tests. I had a gastroenterologist. His name was Dr. Jeffrey Herman. I believe his name was Jeffrey Herman, or definitely Dr. Herman, gastroenterologist of Cedar Sinai. So we thought this was sphincter of Oddi dysfunction, which can occur after a gallbladder surgery and can affect your gallbladder. But during this time, I didn't know. We also had, there's a really wicked doctor I was being treated by her name was Maya. This bitch was Indian. She was Indian, and she was very rude. She would not give me anything for pain when I was in severe pain. She had me on some pump with controlled pain medication throughout the day, and it was very, very rude and very condescending. She didn't think anything was wrong with me and kept saying that over and over, but they would not release me because all the pain I was in and something being wrong on the test results, but the bitch would not tell me and kept lying about it. Every time this bitch would come by, I would end up in an argument. I could not even believe how I was being treated, and I was actually being tortured in the hospital. She offered something called Protonics for my stomach pain, which was like an injection. This made everything completely worse every time I got this injection, 1,000 times worse. I suspect they were putting more poison into my body and were planning to let me die. My mother and grandmother did not even come by to see me or cared at all. I was left to die in a hospital by myself for days upon days in Cedar Sinai, and nobody. Nobody. I was in so much pain one night, my heart began to go berserk, and a whole team was called in my room. The Maya bitch came in too. I was in severe pain, and she did not care. She told them not to give me any pain medication for the pain that I was having. I swear my heart was about to fail from being in so much pain. I couldn't believe I was being denied pain medication in so much pain. I started to slip in and out of it. One of the nurses was a man, and he was saying, like, wow, like what she was doing was very, very wrong. I was supposed to have way stronger pain medication for what was going on. I knew I was supposed to die at this point, but I stayed alive. I was not supposed to, but for some reason I did. My heart was supposed to stop from all the pain that I was in. Hold on a minute. So, sorry, I had to go check, see. It's so weird. I saw someone like walk in the room, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know if that was strange, but I went up there. It's so weird. Okay, anyways, um, so basically, like one morning, some results came in or something. But yeah, like I said, I was not supposed to be alive. This was where I was supposed to have died. This would be the beginning of years of being denied pain medication solely because I was a target, torture. In the morning, some results came in, and the team of Maya and the other doctors were like looking at all these results. They were like whispering, and they were like amazed on this computer, like kind of with their eyes open, like looking, and they would not tell me. I asked, like, why are you huddling around the computer and like not telling me? And then the Maya bitch jumped up and started like saying rude shit to me, and like just out of just, and I ended up cussing her out pretty much. So my mother and grandmother finally came to visit me one morning. Of course, my grandmother showed up with McDonald's breakfast sandwiches for her to eat while she watched me in this hospital suffering. I had two nurses that were dark skin, like very dark. They were definitely demons. These were non-human entities. I could see in their faces and skin. I was crying out in pain, and they actually began laughing. They began actually laughing at me like it was a joke. I couldn't even believe it. I'd never seen anything like this in my life in the actual hospital where I'm supposed to get care, I'm supposed to be safe, and I'm not supposed to be being harmed, and I'm being harmed. Couldn't even believe it. So basically, my mother and grandmother were very friendly with those nurses, which really was really, really fucking creepy. When I told them I was being treated, they didn't care. They didn't even try to come over and watch and protect me. But my grandmother did that for my uncle Curry. Yeah. He said I would never leave my black son alone at a hospital for even 1 minute. Yeah. So, my grandmother was friendly with the nurses, and it made me very angry. I know this was all orchestrated; they were all friends. They were probably from St. Croix or whatever island that these motherfuckers lived in and came from. Because they have a lot of secrets, a lot of voodoo that they do, and all this kind of shit. And I just still couldn't believe it. So later on, when I had spoke to my father about it, my father said they were most likely trying to murder me for insurance money, and they were trying to get me to commit suicide all of my life for insurance money. I realized all my family was in on it later, is still in on it. They actively been trying to murder me in a part of this gang stalking program. I spent about a whole week in the hospital. I didn't feel any better. I was actually tortured. Dr. Herman's demeanor towards me was very awkward. It was so hostile. It was like all these people hated me, and you could see it in their faces. I was an empath, so I was very sensitive and felt it all. I felt so hurt, and I couldn't believe I was so hurt so bad. I was very scared about my stomach. I ended up finally leaving the hospital, and from then on, I had a lot of pain. I did not know what was wrong. It was now like people really wanted to hurt me and cause me pain. I knew I was being harmed. The test results were being lied about. I knew this was medical malpractice and this was criminal. I called the gastroenterologist office, even the clerk, and was so rude and for no reason. She said she didn't have the results, could not give them to me. I said, what? How can I go to the hospital and be hospitalized and not get my results? This was so criminal, it's not even funny. But I had no attorney to fight this, and they knew that, and they kept on with doing stuff to me for the next years. Okay, so this is part 3. I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. Let's get to part 4. And hopefully I'll be able to get that done. Try to do the next one about an hour. Okay. So that's part 3. Stay tuned. Thank y'all so much.